How are you? How are you, Prasanna?
Yes, fine, Prasad. How are you?
Good, good.
Yeah.
Where are you located?
I'm from Hyderabad, India.
Hyderabad. Good, good, good. Namaste, Shyam. Are you
Hi,
in
Prasad.
Bangalore? Are you
I
in
am in
Bangalore?
Pune. I am in Pune, and
Pune.
yes, in some heavy traffic, but I thought this is very important to listen to, so I said I will join.
Thank you. So, shall we start the session? Any prayers? Anybody wants to offer invocation?
Saiji?
Or change somebody else.
Yeah, we'll change to somebody else. So that's fine. Inni, minni, miny, mo. Catch that tiger by that toe.
So who is it?
Yeah, who is it?
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay.
Om. 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 मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् ओ
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So, and what should be the theme for today's session? And are there any questions? Are there any insights that you want to share? If you're thinking about, okay, go ahead, Prasanna.
Yeah. So myself, like I was away from last 2 weeks, almost because like I have other events, so that's the reason I'm not able to attend the sessions. So that's why even I didn't practice it also. I was with the fourth chapter. I was stuck in the fourth chapter. Yeah, I'll continue hereafter. Like,
Yeah. So the best way you could do it, Prasanna, is probably jump into 7th chapter.
okay.
And when you have time, listen to the recordings,
Okay,
5th
sure.
and 6th chapter. And then, of course, and another way you can do it is start with the LinkedIn posts, which people
Okay.
have posted at 5th and 6th.
Okay.
And jump into 7th and do what needs to be done.
Sure.
And then listen to the videos and some of them and catch up on them.
Sure. Yeah,
That,
sure. Thank you.
that is because, like, it's all about today.
Agree.
Because what action we can take today will get to be tomorrow, day after tomorrow, if we are going into, oh, I am not able to do this, I'm not able to do this part. So start with today.
Sure.
And include the yesterday as you are thinking through.
Sure.
Then plan for tomorrow will fall in place.
Sure. Yeah.
But if the moment you say, okay, I'm stuck in the 4th chapter, you want to catch up from 4th chapter, but in the meantime, 7th is getting postponed, 8th is getting postponed, 9th is getting postponed as you are catching up. So you'll always be 2 chapters behind. But if you were to say, okay, I'm starting from 7th, and then I will work on today. As I work on and find the energy in working with the today, I will include and transcend the past. That becomes a powerful place, because the only option or only choice you have for action is now. Expand the now into the past, and as you expand the now into the past, the future also begins to become clear. So you can take this moment from this moment, this to back, and then say, I'm going to come from the back. That is where the majority of the time the stuckness comes. Because we want to bring a continuity to the past, because we will never be able to bring a continuity to the past. It will always be discontinuous. It will always be in a memory or something. So stay in the present and expand the present. Then have a choice in the matter and freedom in the matter.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that. Okay.
Any other questions, comments? What do we want to discuss in your group or for yourself?
Prasad Shyam here.
Yeah, Shyam.
And I'm out of a noisy zone now, it's a little better. So I think one area where I probably wanted guidance is the sessions are definitely very, they take a lot on your mind, because you're reading, processing. It is not easy. It is definitely putting your mind to a lot of questioning the way you're doing things. Now, I wanted to look at self-development for myself as a thing. And I'm trying to make certain changes that I think will benefit me. And what I have seen is the way I'm writing the points over the last 6 chapters, I'm becoming a little bit more sharper in the way I write them. Okay. That's my impression, and I'm trying to also process it better. I wanted to get your guidance on how to ensure that for myself that I'm making progress in what I'm doing. In the sense, I think I'm doing what I'm right, or the way I think I can do. But how do I measure whether I am progressing or not?
Excellent. Excellent question, because it is very relevant to all of us, because we are writing something or other in a variety of contexts. One thing which I looked at, as I mentioned to you, I'm in a Gita conference in Seattle. It's a Gita conference where Swami Bodhananda had initiated. Swami Bodhananda was a student of Swami Chinmayananda. And about 25 years ago, he created something called a Sambodh Society. And so here they are trying to create a yearly conference in Seattle. Last night, for me last night, for some of you who are in India, it is this morning, we had a session. And I gave a talk on Awakening Arjuna. Dr. Venkatraju, who is a neonatologist from East Coast, he had come over. A few other people had come over. And Dr. Gopal Singh, who used to be a CEO of COO of another company, he presented what he and his wife are, who live here, whose house I am in. They actually created a school for girls near Varanasi for 700 girls, completely free education from the villages around, and they have been running it. They are looking at it. So there are several things I wanted to write up about them. So I was trying to see whether I should do the interviews and base my writing or any of them. And I also, because I have been getting the help from ChatGPT in past 1 year to write, I found the flow is much better. But I need to go through 7, 8, 9, 10 rounds of, uh, review this, and then I add some thoughts. Okay, this is not there. I want to get something else, and I want to structure it. I want to restructure it. Actually, I'm adding, changing, modifying to what is suggested by ChatGPT. So what it means is my writing process before was stuck because I was trying to get the ideas, create an outline. For each point, I was thinking through and researching and making sure I'm adding it. And then I write some rough outline, I mean, not outline, like a bullet points. And then I create proper, proper writing. Then I look at academic style. Which journal am I writing, or which medium or platform am I going to post? What level I need to think about? Should I be academic writing? Should it be like a op-ed writing? Should it be a Harvard Business Review writing? I was thinking. But now, with the help of ChatGPT, I can specify right up front, because I can say, I want to write for medium, or I want to write up to 12th grade level, or I want to write for academics. So first, in my prompt, I'll say, by the way, it knows, because it's a paid subscription. It knows that, I'm the co-founder of Institute of Indic Wisdom. I'm interested in integrating the Indic wisdom with management. And it knows some of my background. What is my background? What have I done? So I have given a large amount of background. So that means it knows what it needs to create for me in a broader sense. Then I ask, whom am I writing for? Because ChatGPT will kind of ask me some other questions. I know that from before. So I ask, whom am I writing? Why am I writing? What is one point that I want to communicate through this writing? And do I want to write it through inquiry-based writing, or is it a fun, playful writing, or is it going to be a presentation? Is it going to be a blog? Is it going to be an article? I need to think it through before even I start. Then I'm also, recognizing what makes my writing sharper is it going to be a 800 words or a 2000 words? Is it an academic publication? If it is an academic publication, I specify what the publication is going to be. I say, I'm writing it for Harvard Business Review. I'm writing it for Los Angeles Times. I'm writing it for Sloan Management Review. And then I say, I want the author guidelines of that particular journal or a magazine should be used in helping me to write that. Okay, so setting it up, for example, for writing, I am doing a lot of what you call a guardrails and boundaries before I start writing. Before that, I used to do freestyle writing. Let me do stream of, because I'm a guy who lives in the moment, I used to do stream of consciousness writing. Let me put some thoughts here or something. Or if it is something which I need to write for an academic or some this one, I will try to do a lot of research. Let me read. I'm a guy who likes to read 5 times the material and get my thoughts clear. I'm like non-stop thinking about whatever I'm doing. I'm thinking about this and then reading about it, reviewing about it. And then I come down and blah, 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 I write it down. I used to write like that. But then I found out either it becomes too much. Like, for example, the presentation I made, the awakening the Arjuna within, based on our whatever we were supposed to do. I mean, like whatever our Gita project, I was supposed to review to them. How can our project be of interest? So actually, I'm already making presentations on what we are doing in this our Gita project. So I mentioned, okay, this many people signed up. These are the number of people who are showing up. These are the, kind of session leaders, some of them. Plus, I also got into depth about what are the questions that I want to address for them. Then I realized, and I asked Kalyanji to give me some pointers. And, I asked everybody, but I got something from Anant and something from Kalyan, some points, and then Kalyan even created an outline based on certain things. But then I realized that if I need to make a 45-minute presentation, and he has given me a very good starting points, what Kalyan has given, I need to add a lot of depth to what it is. And then I was on a plane, 6-hour plane from Atlanta to Seattle. And as I was sitting on the plane, I was reflecting on, and then as soon as I got down, I looked at what Kalyan and then Anant reviewed. Anant had some ideas. He asked me how do we take it forward. Kalyan has given an input on what I can do. He has given a simple and straightforward structure. Then I looked at it and said, how do I add depth? How do I add originality? How do I add some thinking process? Because I need to think about and say, whatever I'm doing, we are a design studio, we are a research institute, and we are a what you call organization which does certain original thinking, think tank. So we need to have, whatever we say, it needs to be there needs to be a depth in the thinking and a newness, novelty to the thinking. And there needs to, the whatever we say, it has to have a certain flow and a design element that has to stand out. If I don't make a design, if I don't have a research behind me, and if what I'm doing doesn't have any thinking provocation, then I'm not doing justice to who I am. So what did I do? I asked a question. Who is Arjuna? From a Bhagavad Gita perspective, you can say, okay, he is the half of Nara Narayana combination. Like somewhere it says that the Arjuna Krishna combination is the 9th incarnation of Nara Narayana combination. And they have been trying to kill a particular, what you might call a demon, who is also, every time they come through and kill, one layer is gone, like a Karna, actually. Let me not go into the story, but the question it comes down to is, who is Arjuna? So when I asked Arjuna, then of course I can say Kuru Prince, he stands for Dharma. When everybody else is doing whatever they are doing through Vanvas, Arjuna is the guy who actually went out and who got a lot of weapons that are necessary for the upcoming Kurukshetra war. He prepared Pandavas to increase their chances of success. So he's a diligent, thoughtful kind of a guy. And then I looked at what Raghu Anantanarayan had been looking at from the 5 Pandavas and why one wants to be an Arjuna. I had written a preface for his book on Arjuna. There is another called Awake Arjuna. So I quickly reviewed various things I know about all of this. So because and then I had only 6 hours from the time I got down from the plane. 6 o'clock, I need to be in the conference. I need to prepare the presentation. So I have to write some of this. So I looked at it. Then I realized all this research is useful to me as an academic, as a thinker, or as a person who is interested in this. But then I looked at it from a customer perspective, or a people who are attending the perspective. Because as a writer, I need to write for them. This is not, I'm not writing it for my own reflection. So who are these people? I asked, who are then I found out people who are coming in families. So the husband, wife, their teenage children, or other people also will be there. So suddenly I realized all my research stuff may not be the right thing for them. So I started looking at it and saying, okay, Arjuna in the 21st century. If, how can a child who is in America can relate to Arjuna? And how can a housewife can relate to, or a house husband can relate to, or a finance person can relate to? So then I realized, then I looked up what Kalyan wrote. Kalyan wrote up one particular one saying that he embodies, all our predicaments. He is a guy who is, having a psychological question regarding what to do. He's stuck in the war. Manodhairbalyam, there is a lot of mental anguish that he's going through. Knowing the mental health crisis we are going through in the world, that related very well. Arjuna is a hero who wants to do the right thing, but he is having a weakness of the heart, weakness of the mind. And at the time of action, he either froze or you can say he broke down. That happens to each one of us. I realized that is the best way I can start. And then when I, once I began to look at what what Kalyan put, that point is a very valid one that I need to take. Once I started, who is Arjuna? Then the second question came out. Why should we listen to Arjuna? See, everybody can say, why should we listen to Krishna? That is why people come. People don't come for Arjuna's questions. People come for Krishna's answers. But in this particular talk, because I said it is awakening Arjuna within, I had to really pay attention to not what Krishna did, but what happened to Arjuna. How did he awaken Arjuna? Not what is the process Krishna used. So I eliminated everything about Krishna in my talk or in writing up the script. Whatever, Kalyan gave, fine. That is generic is good. See, like that is what I needed to do. As a writer, I cannot be generic. I have to be specific. I have to make contextual for me and coming from me. How does it make a difference? So that means when I decided in my mind, I'm actually going to go, even though this is meant to be a talk, a pravachan, I am going to make it an interactive. So I went and asked the participants right away, who do you think is Arjuna? Why should we learn from him? Then I took then some children answered questions. Then I took even adult questions, some of them. Then I put this. Once I did this part, so in my mind, as I'm writing through, see, if you notice, I'm sharing my thought process. Who is Arjuna? Why should we learn from him? Then what can we learn from him? What are some things that Arjuna brings? Of course, Arjuna brings, when I thought through, and I did ChatGPT at that time, what are some lessons from Arjuna that we can learn from, do the research and get. It gave me like 10 points why Arjuna will be useful. But that will be a overkill. So I had to pick 3 or 4 of them. And then I looked at it and said, now that I have defined Arjuna, connected it to current teens and current people struggling with, I looked at Arjuna from the context of our 8 topics, themes we took: self-development, leadership development, education, communication, relationships, women's issues, youth issues, like that. I looked at it and said, which will be most relevant? Because my total presentation is about our Gita. So now, if you notice my thought process, who is Arjuna? Why should we care about him? What do we learn from Arjuna? And to learn from Arjuna, what are we doing about it? That is where I introduced our Gita project, like what we are all doing week after week. Then I said, what are we learning from our team? What are we actually connecting, and what are we learning from that? Then I broke it down into 8 areas, like one insight from, by the way, then what I did is I went through all the LinkedIn posts very quickly. I took the notes that I have created every week, looking at your LinkedIn posts I had about 12 or 13 pages of notes from the 6 chapters. I looked through the notes. I took one point, one question, which was coming from 6 weeks. And then what you call, and in the end, I said, where do we go from here? I realized our Gita is all about action. So I need to provoke the writers for action, because if you don't have an action that they need to do, then this will also become another pravachan. By the time you get out of the talk to find your parking, where is your car and how do you get out, what is the road traffic, and you get to the home, by the time the lecture is completely forgotten. That means whoever came, I wanted to leave them one point that I wanted. So I asked them. So I had in the slides, where do we go from here? Some 4 or 5 bullet points. I decided I will not present the 4 or 5 bullet points. I asked them, where do we go from here? Cannot be told by me. You, the listeners, have to decide what is one action you can take from tonight, my talk. Don't worry about everything else. If you pick one action based on what's going on in your life that you can do, everything else will come from that one action. So, like a Nike's situation, of course, Nike's logo, they say, just do it. Even though that's a tagline and it is an interesting, what I realize what we need to do is don't just do it, think about it. What can you learn from Arjuna? What can you learn from our project that we are doing? But ultimately, you need to decide what do you want to do. Now, so what I will do for you is I will be happy to share this, whatever report which I did or the PowerPoint I did, I will share that in our, if you want me to put it on a WhatsApp group, I will put it on WhatsApp group so that you guys can see how am I making a research presentation on what we are doing as our Gita project. How does it come? Now, coming back to the exact question of what you said, I shared with you, if you want to write on self-development, an article, and how do you go through? So I'm saying, first ask for help. I could have done all this by myself, but for me, it is most valuable if I actually work with other people. I'm finding I may not get the content help from some people. I may not get the design help from some other people. I may not get the research help from some other people. But what if I ask that? Let me ask, what is it that you can help? Please, whatever you can help. Some people will come out and say, you know what? How can I help you? Do you want to talk to me? Somebody said. Somebody said, here is an outline. Somebody else created a PowerPoint. Somebody else said, I will do a design for you. Some people thought, what you call, if I need something, I'll ask them directly. So self-development is not about my ego development. I may be writing a paper, but I'm representing all of you. First, recognize the small self versus a large self. Because my presentation is far better because I had the input from Kalyan and Anant, because they gave me an ability to break out of where I am. So first recognize self-development does not occur in vacuum. It does not occur in my mind. It does not occur based on my past. Self-development occurs in life with each other. So as a matter of fact, each of you are developing who I am. You may not know so, you may not think so, you may not think whatever you said made a difference. Just by the question, when I asked, can you help me? You even said, what do you need? What can I do? Just you asking, I know I have support system. So first part is self-development. I in the world acknowledge that part of it. Second, I with the world ask for help. Third, I for the world. What am I writing and how does it benefit? Whom does it benefit? Whom am I writing it for? What will make this most meaningful and valuable for the people whom I am writing? Let me think about and bring it to the forefront of my mind. Because for different people, for different audience, for different journal, I have to think differently. Some of the content itself has to be changed. Once I put that, you see, actually, before even I wrote a single sentence, by thinking about I am not alone, it is not from my past or from my brain it comes in collaboration, it comes for the people. This is the purpose that I need to serve. This is the objective for my writing. And once I do that part of it, then, I got some help from you guys. And I got some help from whatever we are doing, reading the notes. And then I went to Chat GPT. It gave me editing help. It gave me some research help. Then I go back and then I try to create whatever I tried to create. So what is happening is my writing has become a meditative practice. My writing has become a collaborative venture. And my writing is not being done by me alone. There are silent wit partners, there are active partners, there are enthusiastic supporters. So whatever is happening is now suddenly the burden of writing is no longer on me. The writing is happening. I'm playing a role. In that, the moment I get into that flow state, then the higher self will take over. Then whatever flows through me becomes more important than what I, Prasad, has framed and created. By the way, once I write a draft, I send it out. Like even yesterday, I put it in a Google, whatever they have created as a notes, I put it in. But I don't have time. I have like 6 hours. By this time I had only like an hour and a half left. I know in India, people would not have woken up. So I sent it to Anant. I sent it to Amulya. I got a feedback from Anant saying, do you want to talk? I don't have time to talk because I have to sit down. I'm in somebody else's house. The Swami Bodhananda is there. My hosts are there. They're trying to talk to me to give some food or trying to give me some tea. And I have to make this presentation. So, so then I didn't have chance to talk about anything. Then I said to myself, I said, you know what? I'm going to just whatever it's coming through, I'm going to put them on a PowerPoint slides. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, 7 questions, 9 slides. Once I got that, I wrote it down, first draft. It may not be the last draft. And then I sent it to Anand. He said, it looks good, but I remembered this time, I need to use one design language. I used the design language, but it became too many words. And then I went back and looked at Kalyan's suggestion on the PowerPoint. What other points that I can take? I took his image. I put this. I don't have time to create this writing to become much more graphical or less dense. So I decided I will make this as something. I may have so many points, but I'm going to cut it to half, or I'm going to use only some of it in the presentation. Some of it I'll not. And then by the time I went there, I made it a little bit more interactive. And I'm sure I can get the video from them and then I post. And so in the meantime, just because we talked about writing process and how does it come about, let me share this. I obviously don't try to read it as a something. See, this is the image Kalyan has done. So I'm just sharing it to see how this has come about. And so I just let's see, how do I do this? Oh, I need to put it into this mode. Okay. So don't try to read it, but see, here are the questions we explore, because I found out I need to give them questions to explore. Here are some things. Why should we awaken the Arjuna within? What does Arjuna represent us today? What are some lessons that we should take away? What are we doing that is when I brought our Gita project. What are we doing to awaken the Arjuna within us? What does Arjuna perspective contribute to our areas of interest, the 8 areas? Where do we go from here? And then, like, this is what Kalyan had presented. I made some changes. Arjuna is a metaphor for modern day humanity. This is exactly what Kalyan had said. Infinite potential needs direction. Then I realized great preparation, lot of confusion. I represented my state of mind because as I'm writing, because I need to be Arjuna if I need to awaken other people's Arjuna, right? So I need to be authentic and I need to be vulnerable. Third, what is summary of Arjuna's problem? Lot of compassion at the wrong time. Okay. And then what does awakened Arjuna do? So here are some things. Effectively navigate so and so. This again is something I took from Kalyan. Then again, why should we awaken Arjuna? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 points I made, because I always like 4s, not 3s, several times, because I can put a pyramid together. So that is my writing style. That is my unique contribution. And then what are some lessons from Arjuna? Here are some 5 points I made. I know I will not be able to cover all of them. I went into 3 or 4, and this is repetitions, mental resilience, so I didn't cover. Then what are we to take away? Here is what I presented about this one. So I took what Kalyan wrote and I added a little bit and then went into some things. And what are key learnings? So I went through, these are some things that you guys are doing. And then one point, I took the entire stuff, took the notes. What is one point we got? What is one question that is emerging? Or in the 8 areas. Then I left. By the way, I stopped the presentation by this. I did not give them all the content I developed here, like a commit to continuous learning, apply the teachings, foster a community, expand the project. I didn't do any of this type of stuff. I left it by the last slide. Where do we go from here needs to be decided from you. And then I put this and then I left it. So now you got a example, Shyam, about how I think, how I prepare, how I create writing out of it. In this case, it was a presentation. I tried to give you a detailed way in which you get a sense of how and what you can take to next step.
No, very, I think Prasadji, very helpful. Actually, a lot of learnings in a very simple, what seems to be a presentation that you do. I think it has given a lot of perspective. So I've taken some points. I think it will help me understand my question a little better. Thank you.
Thanks.
Very,
Thank
very
you.
helpful. Thank you.
See, one thing which is powerful is you raised a question about self-development. Our self-development does not happen in our mind. Our self-development happens in the context in which we live. It happens in our workplace, it happens in our family, it happens in our society. That is where your self-development takes place. So first is, don't get stuck that it happens in there, number one. Even if you are writing about self-development, it has to be connected to life. That means another way of saying it has to be connected to the divine, or it has to be connected to the context, and it has to be connected to what you call other people whom you are writing it for, and yourself. When you write in that, and then you become the instrument through which the divine message flows. Then I'm practicing this Gita. I am Nishkama Karma, like Karta. What kind of a Karta are you? I'm enthusiastic, I'm curious, I'm available, and I will try to remove as much as I can out of what I am. My samskaras and my vasanas, I let it go. But my medium, there is a uniqueness to my medium, my voice. I have to give it. But the message has to be universal. So when you asked me this question, I didn't know how to answer it. So I decided I'm going to be in communication and I'm going to allow this. So this whole thing came about through this moment, your question. So thank you for asking that question, because I am learning a little bit from unconscious to conscious competence of how the learning works, especially because Kalyan has written a what do you call poster, and that got accepted in a conference. Just before you started, we were talking about how to prepare for the poster, how to create some material. So all of this are flowing together. Any other questions? Any other comments? What are you guys doing with our Gita project, or where are you working with your own? So some of that we can take, especially if you are team leader on something. You might also want to look at, are you getting summaries from each week? Like every week, are you actually beginning to see the 6 chapters which we have done? How did your group progress? Maybe are you taking additional leadership in sending something to your group saying, hey guys, this is what we have done. This is what I'm doing. Do we want to meet once more during the week? And does anybody need help? By the way, I read this, I listened to this, or I read this commentary. These are 3 points which I got on self-development or leadership or career development. I'm sending it to you guys because you might want to find them useful also. How are you leading your team? Also something which may be interesting for us to think about. And any other questions you have, I'm open to.
Yeah, one thing I've been doing is I've been it's been an iterative process of reflection and action and insights.
Yeah.
And what's also helped me is going back and forth through 3 to 6 multiple times across different sources as well.
Yeah.
So I have one online source from Swami Mukundananda, and then I have the book of from Swami Chinmayananda, and also from Eknatheshwaran. These are my 3 primary sources, and in addition, I do some additional reading, any interesting essays that I uncover online, and so on. What I'm finding is each time I see slightly, different variations of the same or new insights when I read about the same thing based on some interpretation somebody has and the evocation that it comes. And so while the intellectual part is one, reading and understanding one, the other thing that's also leading to it is through this back and forth process, I'm also going through the past and the present back and forth as well. So when I look at things like ideas like be it pratyahara or inaction, action, and so on, um, I'm realizing what I thought they were or what I thought I was doing at that time, but what it is, and so what can I be doing now? What can I be doing different now? Right? So it's in some ways it's stirring new things. In some ways it's providing kind of what do you say, a respite to some of the uh, issues or regrets of the past, and then also providing a new place for me to start. Okay, here is how I can take it forward from now on. So overall, I felt I've been moving into a place of more solutions and more can do, or path of light, and so on. So definitely, like Prasanna and Shyam Sundaram alluded, a lot of thinking and a lot of processing that's been happening. It's definitely a deep journey so far.
Yep.
And so a few things that keep coming back to me as of future pursuits that I'm curious to pursue. One is Arjuna's questions, the 17 questions, and his phases of growth, or how we can infer more from it. The second is I'm also interested in the communication style and the communication best practices, right? Be it the use of similes, or the art of persuasion, or the succinctness of it. There are various angles in which the communication paradigm of Bhagavad Gita could be analyzed, and we can learn from it. So that's an area that is of interest as well. So I've been keeping some notes on these, but in due time I'll do something more with it. So, yeah.
Okay. What is one thing out of what you shared with vulnerability that you want me to address or the group to address?
I don't have one specific thing to be addressed today. I just want to share about my journey and what I've been working on so far.
I appreciate that, Anant. I thank you for all the work that you put in, and all the work, self-development, as well as for the community that you are putting the effort. I really thank you for that.
Thank you.
And several of the thoughts that you are going through, several of the reflections and introspection, and also, what you are seeking for yourself and for your family and for the community. I appreciate, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I had a question from what you shared, Saji. You shared that our development or self-development will happen only when we're interacting with an environment, with a set of people like that. So what happens when I am locked myself? I have locked myself in a room, and I'm 24/7 on laptop doing my own thing. So, is it the noise in my head then, and I am out of touch with reality, or what? Like, because there is a difference between meeting people or engaging with office people, even online, and a physical energy exchange. So is there a difference, or how does it
Is
work?
there a difference? Very good question. If because the self-development occurs in a field of others who know me, who have given me feedback, or who may not know me, but they are seeing my behavior in the short term. Like even now, let us say you are here with us for an hour, or you have been with us in the Gita Project, in your small groups several times. They may know you little bit, and they may be able to give you feedback based on that. Or they might have already given, sometimes through words, or sometimes through silence. Sometimes they may respond, sometimes they may not respond. But, you have gotten feedback. Third one is you are never alone, because when you read Gita, the author of that commentary, you are taking his or her thoughts. Even beyond the author or the Bhashyakara or the Swami who is talking about, the next level is Krishnaji's conversation. As reported by Sanjaya is what we see in Bhagavad Gita. You are actually meditating on his words. You are meditating on Arjuna's questions. You are meditating on Sanjaya's interpretation of what is happening. So you are never alone. Never, 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 ever. Even if you lock up in your room and stay there for this one, you are never alone. You are actually, whatever reflections are coming out, they are also based on your interaction with other people. Unless, you are being taken care of by the wolves, like that Balu or, whatever you look at, and you have never had a human interaction, even then, the nature is interacting with you. Animals have been interacting with you. So, to a certain extent, one is to recognize I am never alone. I am never by myself. I always have, other people. I am always in a field. That is probably a better way to say. Only thing is, are you acknowledging the field that you are in? Are you happy with the field you are in? Several times, that's what I find. I am in a misery because I'm not willing to accept help. I'm not willing to acknowledge that this is the state of mind I am in, or these are the people who surround me. This is the kind of feedback I got. I may not like any of them. That doesn't take away other people in my life. First. Second part of it is, if I take my role seriously, as a Rashmi, as a mother, or as a woman, or as a spouse, or as a teacher, or as a helper, whatever you are doing with your with various schools, with children, with whatever project you have, whatever you do, if you get stuck in one role, oh, I am the breadwinner, or I have to earn this money, I have to find a job, I haven't had a job, I need to look for next one, I need to get my next consulting, I need to get a new car. I don't know what each of us are facing, but don't get caught with it. Don't get into, whatever is the problem to overtake your other roles. I wish I can share one of the blog that my friend is writing in the Bay Area. This person just went through what you call a bone marrow transplant. Okay. And after struggling for 9 years with certain kinds of illnesses, as he is going through the bone marrow transplant and lying in the hospital for several weeks, his wife got diagnosed with cancer, and she is going through chemotherapy and surgery. because bone marrow transplant means they have to really be alone. They cannot be meeting people. They cannot be doing various kinds of stuff. So two other people who are close to them, they left their home, said, we will come and stay with you. We will provide the support. So now 4 of them took a Airbnb or whatever it is near the hospital, and they are trying to be there themselves. Day in and day out, they are supporting. But this gentleman who is going through the bone marrow transplant, he is having 103, 104 temperature non-stop, minute infections which show up because the bone marrow means the no infection fighting capability. One after another infection. Like this morning, what I read, there is a bacterial infection in the brain that has made him to lose the short-term memory. There is another viral infection. So there are team of doctors who are working with, they are giving something. He is constantly shaking. Now, even with 2 people, he is not able to go to bathroom. He is not able to get up. Now, suddenly he has forgotten, because of the short-term memory, he has forgotten who the other people are. He has forgotten that he is having a brain transplant. He has forgotten sometimes who he is. But when I look at the wife writing some of the blog to give update to several people, and how that person is so peaceful, so calm. He is a Vipassana teacher, by the way. And the joy. And this person who is in the hospital for multiple days, he looks at his wife and says, you know, that nurse who came to take my blood sample for the 20th time today, she seems to be ill. By the way, she might not have eaten. Do we have any cookies you can give it to her? By the way, doctor who came in, he is irritable today. Nipun, can you go find out what's going on with him? This man is literally moving through in and out of death for several this one, and his compassion non-stop is about who come to help him. Now think about the infinite compassion that is flowing through him. And as I just read some of the blog and as I read the letter, I find what the wife is going through, what the husband is going through, what the family is going through. It is just mind-blowing to me. So we all think we have problems. And we do. There is no question. But, it is like what I'm going to do is, I'm going to, without showing this one, I will try to see whether I can just get you to experience this flow. Let's see whether I can do this. All right. Let me see whether I can share. Okay. Can you read this? Okay. So I'll just read this one. He has so little strength, such short periods of lucid wakefulness. And in those windows of time, I see him directing what little energy he has towards truly seeing people and letting them know what he sees. Thank you, he says to C, who stopped by to empty our trash bins. Thank you for keeping us safe through the work that you do. You're both confident and gentle, he tells K. That's a rare combination. To J, he says, it seems you have always found your growth journey wherever it has taken you. It takes courage to do that. Even now, he tries in so many little ways to take care of me. It is second nature to him. Even when he is hands down the one who most need care. What is your name? Viral Mehta. What is your birthday? June 9th. Where are you? Stanford Hospital. Why are you here? I have a bone marrow transplant. Over and over again, day after day, the same questions, the same answers. Until one morning, something changes. What is your name? Viral Mehta. When is your birthday? June 9, 1979. Where are you? A nice room. Why are you here? To connect with good people. You are in hospital because you are sick, said one of the doctors, not one of my favorites. Viral responds in a perfectly polite, utterly unfazed voice. We will see. On this journey that is now going on 9 years, Viral has never deeply thought of himself as ill. You're healthy and you just want to get healthier, a gifted naturopath had said to him years ago. It resonated with Viral's own feeling of his condition. It still does. Meanwhile, the ground has shifted under the rest of us as we consider the implications of a mind that no longer knows where the body is. But where is the mind? What is the body? Does anyone really know? Why am I bringing that is we take ourselves too seriously. We think the conditions that we are experiencing are terrible and we want to get out of it. In doing so, we get trapped. We get stuck. Maybe we need to let the compassion flow. Maybe we need to drop this small self-act. We are here for a purpose. And the universe knows what it needs to do with us, what it needs to provide. Let us trust that and do the best we can with what we have, with whom we need to do. To the best of capability, with a smile, with a serenity that we can muster to the best of our ability. Maybe that's all what we can do. That's maybe the message that Gita gives. So you are never alone, Rashmi. Neither am I. I may think sometimes. So when you can trust and allow, you have to allow, by the way, others. You have to acknowledge the universe. You have to acknowledge the grace and the blessings that you have received. I think only then, I think we begin to flower. You know, like somebody said, the flower falls outwards when it opens. It doesn't crumble to inside. Maybe we can learn something from the flowers that are falling or flowers that are opening. Let's do it and see what happens. So, all right, let's come back to here and now to us. I didn't mean to make the situation too. I just wanted to acknowledge that each of us have a lot going on, but let us not make that whatever is going on to blind our vision to what's going on in the world. Then we'll close the doors. Otherwise, we'll lock the connection. But only through the connection that the life flows. Only through that acknowledgement that the universe shows up.
So that's certainly good perspective to have, and deep and profound message as well. So thank you for sharing that.
So, yeah, hi Prasad. Yeah. So when you asked me to start with the 7th chapter, I just quickly glanced at slokas. Like no, I did just hardly I just read that meaning, which is available. From that, what I got was like, I mean, I'm just sharing that what insight I got, but I want to create an action from that. When like now, I mean, I didn't remember the sloka, but he says like now how you want to look at me, or how you want to pursue me. So that I'll teach you. That's what he started. Okay, like 1 second. Sorry for that. So yes. Yeah, how to pursue the knowledge. Sorry, he was sharing that how to pursue the knowledge. So from that, I was thinking about that how I can utilize for my career development. The way he is sharing, that is coming to me when I just like quickly glanced at how I can use that into my career development, how to get that knowledge and how to like intensify that knowledge, and then from there how I can proceed further. So that is first insight I got. And of course I need to go through that remaining slokas and understand more. So I thought of writing on that point from that
Please.
perspective and use it in my current situation and share.
Wonderful.
So that is very quick insight I got from the very. I mean, I just 1 minute I read. So from that it is. So yeah, it will be good. Right? As you mentioned that I don't need to worry about that. What not happened in that 4th and 5th, but right now 7th itself is something different.
Yeah, see, the universe will provide in one note, one shloka, one line. It
Exactly.
can be one message or sometimes even one look from our spouse or from our child or from the neighbor or the postman.
Agree.
We can get the message if we are open, receptive, and curious.
Agree.
And
Agree.
that being open, receptive, and curious is the Karta Bhavana that he talks about. Entire Bhagavad Gita, when they say, what kind of a Karta, or if you say, what kind of a Rama, who was Rama? Rama Vigrahavan Dharmaha. When you say, or when you take any of these role models, they are open, receptive, curious, willing to put all their energy into whatever it is, but they are not stuck with anything else. So there is a power in being available, being open, being curious, and being still. That is not something which we talk about, but that stillness becomes an extraordinarily important. Once
And
that
I
is
just
there,
want to share.
yeah, go
I
ahead.
just want to share one more point. Like, I mean, overall, like now, I'm not sure I shared earlier, but coming to this project itself is like now kind of like calling for me. It is because earlier I was thinking like, no, this is maybe 2 years back, I thought of started like now coaching. I want to do the coaching like now. Then I was doing a mentoring. So there I felt like, no, I'm more connected. Then I asked my brother, like, no, how can I improve? So then he said, like, no, this is the path you can choose. And I said, like, no, I've gone through that some videos and I'll understand. Then I said, why can't we use the Bhagavad Gita? From that, how can I use this for coaching? That's how my path started. Then I want to work on, like, I need to read, complete it, and all those things. I thought of doing it, but I never done that. I stopped it. I went to the coaching. I got trained in the coaching, ICF training completed, everything done. But I am not able to come back to this one. So that moment exactly, I saw it, the message in the LinkedIn yours, and then immediately joined. Now that is like, now God, God is calling me to do this one. Hey, do this one. This is a helps to the people. So that's one thing which I really connected. Really, it's a calling for me, like now to do that, to this work. I'm blessed actually.
Very happy to hear that. One thing you might also want to look at, if this is your calling, if you need to act on this calling, what are the blocks to live into this calling? So what are the, because our autopilot mind, see, we call it in Institute of Indic Wisdom, we talk about 4 states of mind that we operate from. One is called avidya kshetram. Avidya kshetram means a confused or chaotic mind, chaotic state of mind. That is where most of the time we operate from. In that chaos, we look for guidance anywhere. So some insight comes in, some calling gets clear, some idea becomes this one. But unfortunately, most of us don't live out of that calling. Oh, we got that. Or I'll work for 1 week, I ignore it. Or I want to do it, I take on a project, rediscovering Bharat. Good, I'm working on it for 2 years. But I want to do it as I want to do it, not necessarily as the universe presents it to me. Or I want to do this Institute of Indic Wisdom, this is how it is. But I feel it is going in a direction I didn't intend, I don't plan, and I'm not comfortable with, and I don't know what to do with. But that is how the universe has presented. Now the question it comes down to is, am I willing to recognize I put out an intention and the universe is giving me whatever it is giving me? Am I willing to accept that this is the response of the universe to my inquiry or my calling? So I need to look at what are the blocks that my past or my autopilot behavior or my situation or my anxiety. So my physical, emotional, intellectual barriers that I put autopilot automatically. Or it can be inquiry. It can be like, oh, if it is like this, it should be like that. If it is really my calling, I should be energized and enthused and I shouldn't have to put any hard work to get there. Like recently, just last week, Roger Federer gave a talk in the Dartmouth University. He gave a graduation speech. He also got a PhD. I mean, they gave him a doctorate, honorary doctorate. And he is a guy who actually got out of high school and got into tennis. He never went to college. He said there are only 2 times he stepped into the college. But his lecture was amazing. The first one he says, tennis is my field, my kshetra. I'm going to give you lessons from that. He says, first one, they say, Roger, you make everything so effortless. He says, to make that look so effortless, it takes so much of effort. If you believe in your marketing, or if you try to do whatever comes in this one, it doesn't work. Like, anything we do, we have to put in 100% effort as if this is the only thing that is to be done. All other distractions, we have to let it go. Even then, things may not happen. So, what are my blocks? What are my barriers? What are my autopilot patterns? What is my story that I tell myself that if this is my calling, what are all the obstructions I put in the way of living my calling? It's like I get up and say, I need to do this, but I want to check my mail. I want to read my WhatsApp messages. I want to take these calls. I want to check my stock portfolio, or I want to see what is going on here. I want to take a walk. I have 100 different things that bothers me.
Yeah.
But what it means is my calling is not getting fulfilled because I'm bothered by my routines, by my patterns of behavior, my everyday actions. How do I actually remove this and put something on in front of it? So I need to think about what are my beliefs, what are my conditioning, what is my conditioning, what are my routines. If we don't pay attention to enough of these shadow routines, the light will never come. So if you can pay attention to, if you think this is what it is, for example, you want to do coaching using Bhagavad Gita, find out what are the other books that are available, who are the other people who are using Bhagavad Gita for coaching. Put together a resource list, begin to do some of the, I'm sure you are doing all this. I'm just saying, if I were to come about it, right? And then, for example, I will look at it and say, now you have done 7 chapters. Now let us say you are in the 7th chapter. Now think about it and say, what are some coaching tips and coaching tools and coaching frameworks that I can take out of the 7th chapter or whatever I have read, let us say up to 4th chapter, now 7th chapter. Think about it and say, today or tomorrow or this week, I'm going to put together, because I have gone through ICF training and some of them, in the same format, using that as a skeleton, I'm going to develop coaching tools and coaching tips, coaching frameworks, coaching scenarios, coaching case studies out of what I have learned.
Okay.
I will do this. And so begin to put together and then compare it and contrast it with what other coaches who have used Bhagavad Gita. There may be articles, there may be books, there may be something. Then I will begin to start putting. Then I will create my own, what you call a bag, goodie bag. I will develop. So if you can start doing that, chances are, and also there are other people. No, maybe you should talk to it. Maybe you should put out on the LinkedIn or WhatsApp saying, are there other people who are using Bhagavad Gita for coaching in our 140 or 150 people community? Or I want to develop this. Does anybody want to develop coaching, practice based on Bhagavad Gita? Maybe 2 of us can work together. You live in Jabalpur, I live in San Francisco. Maybe we can connect and maybe we can develop some coaching and mentoring frameworks. By the way, who is your audience? Who is my audience? What is my market? What is your market? Are you using Bhagavad Gita? What are you using? Can I use that? And by the way, here are some things that so for example, if you put it out and then say it to people, this is my sankalpam. Is there anybody else having same sankalpam? Can we become a group? Can we talk 2 people, 5 people, 10 people? Oh, you are coaching using Bhagavad Gita for teams. I'm doing it for executives. You are doing it for somebody else. Let's talk. Let's put together. Let's see whether we can become a small consortium.
Yeah.
Right. Now, and you can also ask Saiji in Indian Institute of Indic Wisdom, what are the things that you can do to help? What are you working on? Now, what you are doing is you are using your curiosity, your openness to search the universe to see what is already there. And then do that. If you don't do that, if you get distracted by everything else, you have already paid the money and completed ICF training, and you have a unique way in which that ICF training will make you a coach, and it will raise your what you call flag. You can fly high. I do Bhagavad Gita based coaching. It is original. Something I'm doing. Very few people are doing that. And I'm going to develop this. And then you can think about, you can even developing another ICF course that you can offer it through ICF for other coaches once you have a little bit of experience. You see what I'm saying? So this
Yes,
is the way in which you can blossom and you can collect honey from other flowers. You can work with other bees and you can make a lot out of this group.
sure. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Anything else anybody has? Jitendra ji. Yes. You're muted, I think.
I was just listening throughout, and few questions got raised in myself directly, which probably I'll contemplate, think over it, and then probably maybe on Sunday I can talk. Like one thing is, only yesterday I was thinking about some thing that what's my need to support someone.
Okay.
On and probably this was coming to me from perspective of letting go.
Wonderful.
Okay, so I was thinking over it, that what is my need to do this thing, right? Now another question has got raised.
Yeah.
That probably I have to let go and be at the same time compassionate also. More compassionate than what I was or I am. So,
Beautiful questions. Yeah. Continue,
and
please.
and what to and how to do that.
Yeah.
That is one. Second, like the yagna part, I have not very deeply read because of whatsoever reasons and self-imposed reasons. But I'll do that reading, and I was just thinking that these yagnas, am I whatsoever I was doing, say like meditation or say dhyan or what, were these too mechanical? Are they to be done mechanically, or they to be connected with the actions what I'm taking? That is another question which is which has come up, and probably I'll be delving on this. Third thing, third, other I would say the zero thing was that Sunday I said that I have to do some discipline corrections on me. So since I left my job and I started doing training and consultancies, and which are not very regular, so my schedule had gone for a 6. So now I have so I have again since Monday changed my schedule and started getting up early. And whatsoever yoga and other things I was doing, I have started doing it in a group now, and started moving out, getting up at somewhere between 4:30 instead of 7:30, 8. So it's now giving more time, and even like in last few chapters, I missed some verses before coming to the this group. This time, I think today I'll be finishing the 7th chapter with my insights, which I'll be sharing later. Yeah, please give your
Yes, sir.
thoughts.
Wonderful. See, I'm glad you raised the questions, because the most important part is raising questions. The answers universe keeps giving. And by the way, sometimes it gives you different answer every day.
Yeah.
Right. But the key job that we need to do is to raise the question. Like somebody said, question, etymology, if you look at the root word for question, is the quest. That means be in the quest. Be in the quest. Who goes on a quest? A hero goes on a quest. Arjuna goes on a quest. So my sense is, don't wait for answers, the right answer that will fit your circumstance, because the answers will keep on changing. Only thing is, make sure you are asking a question that you really want to ask. Because if you ask stupid questions, you will get stupid answers. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because the mind is such that, like now you have raised 4 or 5 questions. Pick one that you want to be bothered by. Because the job of a question is to bother you.
Yeah.
Right? So be in the conscious inquiry. Being in the question is called inquiry. So my recommendation is, between now and Sunday, as you read the 7th chapter and as you look at it, what question do you want to be bothered by? Whatever you be bothered by, universe will provide answers to that. If you keep on asking 5 questions, I'm doing 5 projects with 5, that is one problem that becomes from working for a job, working in a job versus working as a consultant. Working in a consultant, everybody else's problem becomes your question. You become ADHD in that part, you will never bring, that is what I noticed. I can never bring depth to any one client in a meaningful, deep, profound way. I need to be able to. That means I won't learn from that project as well. I need to pick what is my, what you call a foundational work which I'm doing. Raise the questions in that foundational one. And go deeper and deeper as you inquire into it, as you reflect on it, like Sravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. When you do that in that particular area, your sadhana will deepen and some things will begin to flower in you. But so that is about questions. If you can keep those in mind, pick the right questions to be bothered by. Otherwise, you will be left with a lot of anxiety. Let us say I'm looking for a job. If I constantly be bothered by that I don't have a job, the field that you are creating for everybody is that I don't have a job. I need a job for yourself. So nobody wants a person who needs a job. They want a person who doesn't need a job and who doesn't care about the job that you are giving and that you are offering. They are satisfied with what they are, where they are. So you need to pry them. You need to motivate them to leave what they have and come into the job. Those are the kind of people they want. So if you put out the energy, then what you get may not be satisfactory to you. But that doesn't mean you stop searching for a job. You put out the intent that I am looking for a job. Then rest of the time, don't let that anxiety bother you. Do the best you can. Every day you make an effort. I'm applying for this. I'm trying it. But you know what? Once I did that, I wash off my hands and then I do whatever I do with the full concentration and awareness and presence, and I bring it. And out of that, something else will come out. Something else will come out. that is what I would say.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's a very nice insight.
Thank you. Shall we stop? Because it is an hour and a half. I know each of you have got a lot to do. And I really, truly got a lot out of today. I appreciate you being in my life today and bringing some awareness to what it is that I'm taking. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Have a great day, great evening, and we'll catch up on Sunday.